In the 5th year of our marriage, I gave birth to our daughter. My husband, David Miller, transferred all the shares in his name to her. Everyone congratulated me, saying I had money and a loving husband, proof that even a marriage between families in the wealthy elite family could have true love. I just smiled calmly and took out a set of divorce papers. Because the only thing he loved was a face identical to his first love. I left with my daughter. David Miller blocked my path. "I'm sorry, Sarah," he said. "You can ask for anything you want." I sneered. "My daughter, money, property, real estate, and your life. Can you give me all of that?" His eyes reddened, his voice trembling. Does it have to be so ruthless? When David Miller rushed back from abroad, our daughter had already been born. Her name was Lily Miller. David Miller picked up the baby, his eyes red when he looked up. "I'm sorry, Sarah, I couldn't make it back in time," he said, his face full of guilt. "The flight was delayed due to extreme weather. I was stuck at the airport abroad for a long time and only just got back. I originally wanted to contact my friends back home to borrow their helicopter. But you know, Sarah, because of my dad's job, I couldn't be so high profile. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you." David Miller held our daughter, tears streaming down his face. It was the first time I had ever seen David Miller cry. I was a little anxious. "Don't let your tears drip on her. She just fell asleep." David Miller carefully placed the baby beside me. "She will be my only child from now on." I felt his expression was a little too serious when he said that, but I didn't think too much of it. When Lily was almost a month old, I went back to the Miller family estate with him. The second day after we returned, I woke up to see David Miller sitting by the bed, holding our daughter, who was already awake. David Miller looked a bit haggard. I was confused. "David, why are you sitting here holding the baby, and why is she awake so early? What were you doing last night? You weren't back when I fell asleep. Did you go to the office for overtime?" "No, I came back after 10 last night, and then I watched the baby all night with a night light on." I truly couldn't understand his behavior. "Really don't disturb her sleep." David Miller probably didn't expect me to say that, so he said in a joking tone, "Sarah, why don't you love me anymore now that you have a child?" I laughed. "Are you serious, David Miller? Your daughter is still so small, and you're already competing with her." "Oh, right." David Miller handed me a document. "Sarah, take a look." I signed the voluntary transfer agreement. "I've decided to transfer all the shares in my name to Lily. Because of my dad's job, my mom can't engage in commercial activities, so my grandfather and my maternal grandfather put some shares in my name. After I sign this transfer agreement, all of this will belong to Lily." I was stunned. "Why are you suddenly saying this?" "Just suddenly thought of it." David Miller looked down at his daughter in his arms. "I will definitely be a good father in the future." "Sarah," I nodded, indicating that I believed him. I took the document, placed her beside me, and soon she fell asleep again. After David Miller went out, Eleanor Miller came in. She had the housekeeper set out the meal, and then brought over a bowl of soup. "Sarah, you said yesterday you wanted this soup. I specifically called your mom and learned how to make it from her. Quick, try it and see if it's okay." I had everyone in the family try it, and they all said it was good. Only then did I feel relieved. I smiled and said, "Okay." Eleanor Miller had always been very satisfied with me as her daughter-in-law, and we had always gotten along well. The Miller family and the Smith family were old acquaintances. Davi D. Miller and I had known each other since we were young. It was a marriage between families. "Sarah, why did I see David looking like he'd pulled an all-nighter?" He kept yawning when he went out. I just asked him. He said he had a night light on and watched Lily all night. Eleanor Miller looked shocked. "Is there something wrong with that child's brain? If he has too much energy, he should go to the study and look at documents. Why would he have a night light on and disturb you and Lily's sleep? No way, I'm going to scold him." Eleanor Miller stormed out, leaving me exasperated. About half a minute later, my best friend Jessica came in. "What's wrong with David Miller? Why was he getting yelled at?" I heard Eleanor talking to him when I came in. Jessica began to imitate David Miller. "Are you out of your mind? I never knew you were so stupid. Don't you know that would disturb Sarah and Lily's sleep?" Sarah carefully touched the baby's hand. "So small. My goddaughter is so beautiful." As her godmother, I felt incredibly proud. Jessica stared at the baby as if she were a rare treasure, unable to take her eyes off her. "Is Lily's celebration party the day after tomorrow?" Jessica asked, pulling my work phone out of her bag. "You left this phone at my place for over a month." "Yes," I said, taking the phone she handed me. "The invitations have been sent out. Last month, Jessica came to my house to pick up some non-commercial data. While I was organizing things, I don't know how, but I put my work phone in with it, and she took it back with her. By the time I realized it, she was already at the airport. So, the phone was directly taken abroad by Jessica on her business trip. I don't use that phone much to contact family and friends, and my work had been paused for a while, so I wasn't in a hurry to get the phone back. I didn't ask her to have someone send it back. Now, after so long, the phone's battery must be dead. Oh, right, Jessica suddenly said. David Miller called me earlier. He asked if I had this phone. He said he would come to my house to get it, but I told him I was abroad. He didn't say anything more and just asked if I could give the phone to her when I got back, and she would pass it on to you. At first, I thought he was being thoughtful, but after a couple of days, I found it a bit strange, so I made up an excuse that the phone was lost. I said my phone fell to the bottom of the cliff when I was skydiving, and then he stopped asking me for it. Sarah, do you think she might be hiding something from you? Jessica leaned in. Really, I was a bit puzzled. Why haven't I heard her mention this? I charged the phone for a while, then turned it on to check messages. There were hardly any work messages, mostly spam texts. As I scrolled, my hand trembled. The phone screen stopped on 3 text messages. I'm pregnant. With my husband David Miller's child. I've already had it checked out, it's a boy. I know you won't accept me, but I hope you can accept this child. Your husband and I are true love. Why aren't you replying? I know this is your number. I had someone find it out. Do you know where your husband is right now? Did he tell you he's abroad on business? The truth is, he's traveling abroad with me. Is your baby about to be born? What difference does that child make? You still can't hold on to your husband's heart. The phone dropped onto the comforter. My mind went blank. What's wrong? Jessica picked up my phone, looked at it, and fell silent too. She grabbed my hand, her face full of concern. Sarah, are you okay? Where's David Miller? I suddenly felt lost. Jessica, could you please call him in for me? Can you take the baby to the sunroom next door for a bit? After 2 minutes, David Miller came in. When he was still 4 or 5 steps away from me, I threw the phone directly at him. He caught it, his hand even trembling slightly. Sarah, take a good look at me. I turned my head away. David Miller, take a good look at what you've done. David Miller glanced at the phone screen, his face instantly turning pale. The phone dropped to the floor. Sarah, listen to me. David Miller rushed towards me. Listen to you? I looked at him. Go ahead, tell me. Let's see what you can possibly say. David Miller suddenly knelt down. Sarah, and I completely gave up hope. I had expected to hear David Miller's explanation or rebuttal, but his kneeling was a direct admission. David Miller, David Miller. My eyes filled with tears, blurring my vision. You are truly something. Now I know. Now I know why you were so insistent on getting that phone from Jessica. I choked out. So you knew she sent me these texts? I didn't know. David Miller looked up and protested. Sarah, I truly didn't know at the time. I only found out later when I saw it on her phone. Sarah, before she sent them, I honestly didn't know. If I had known, I would never have let her do something like that. Sarah, please don't cry. Can I explain it to you tomorrow? Is the child thing true? I didn't want to hear his excuses. It was a long time before David Miller replied. I slapped him. Let's get a divorce. I looked at him, tears dripping down one by one. David Miller, let's get a divorce. I frantically pulled out tissues to wipe my tears, on the verge of collapse. David Miller's face was full of despair. Sarah, no, I won't divorce you. Sarah, please don't leave me. I'm begging you. Okay. David Miller's voice was choked with sobs. I know I was wrong, Sarah, but I truly can't accept losing you. Let's not get a divorce. Okay, you can't accept losing me. So you went and cheated? Is that what you did? I just found it laughable. Sarah, David Miller suddenly grabbed my hand. I really didn't make a mistake. I love you. No one loves you more than I do. Sarah. It's just that by the time I realized I had made a mistake, it was too late. She threatened me, showed weakness to me. She said she would report me under my real name. You know, Sarah, my family is different from yours. People in business are never afraid of their private lives being in the news. In fact, as long as it doesn't involve the law, many things can increase heat and discussion for the company. But I can't let this matter be exposed and affect my dad. I shook off his hand. Stop making excuses, David Miller. I looked at him and spoke coldly. The more you try to justify yourself, the more disgusted I feel. Sarah, who was that person? I interrupted him. My secretary. The new secretary, Sophie. I was wrong. Sarah, I truly know I was wrong. Sarah, I was also very scared when this happened. I was afraid it would break us apart. A sourness rose in my throat. David Miller, Do you think I'll believe what you're saying? If you were scared, you wouldn't have allowed yourself to make this mistake from the beginning. I truly never thought something like this would happen to me. David Miller, where did you put me? I slapped him again. She sent these messages to provoke me right before my due date. Was she trying to kill both me and the baby? David Miller, you kept a mistress, had an illegitimate child, took the mistress traveling abroad, and let her get my number to send provocative messages. How dare you? David Miller slumped to the ground, his face filled with pain, as if all the strength had been drained from him. Sarah, Eleanor Miller came in and saw this scene. She stood there, momentarily stunned. She picked up the phone from the floor, looked at it, and her face showed instant shock. Eleanor Miller quickly walked over to David Miller and pointed at him. We gave you the best education since you were a child, raised you with the strictest discipline, and this is what you turned out to be. Blood trickled from the corner of David Miller's mouth where I had slapped him. You're really something. You're truly capable. David Miller, whose face are you slapping by doing this? What exactly are you trying to do? Where do you put Sarah? David Miller, are you trying to force your mom and dad to their deaths? Do you know that 40 years of your dad's effort can be ruined by this one sentence about a messy private life? Eleanor Miller, a university professor, was usually rational and composed. Today, however, she had a major outburst of temper. David Miller closed his eyes, tears streaming down his face. Mom, I know I was wrong. I'm sorry, I truly know I was wrong. David Miller started slapping himself. Sarah, please forgive me. Give me another chance. I promise I will never make such a mistake again. I took a deep breath, knowing that some things couldn't be soft-hearted about. Some thoughts shouldn't even exist, let alone be acted upon. I would never compromise myself for anyone. It's not because I'm not good enough, nor is it my fault. It's because David Miller is a scumbag, wanting what's in the bowl while looking at the pot. David Miller came back a few hours after he left. He continued kneeling in the room. He handed me a piece of paper. Sarah, look at me. Don't ignore me. See, I've already had Sophie forcibly taken to get an abortion. I told you, I only acknowledge Lily as my child. Sarah, look at me. I didn't bother to take what David Miller was handing me. I just looked at him. You're truly pathetic, David Miller. Sarah, is there really no possibility for us? David Miller was crying hysterically. I truly regret it. Every time I think about it, I wish I could kill myself. I know I made a mistake, and I know that once you found out about this, you would never be with me again. But every time I think that, I feel so heartbroken I could die. I didn't want to make a mistake either. I've been in constant fear. I was so afraid of this matter being exposed. I made this mistake, and I'm also in despair. I said coldly. But I truly love you, Sarah. I can't accept losing you and Lily. Do you know that, Sarah? Why did I transfer all the shares left to me by my grandfather and my maternal grandfather to Lily? Because when I was a child, I was the only child in the family. My mom and dad were perfectionists. They demanded that I do everything perfectly, so I lived a very repressed life when I was young. Back then, I swore I would be good to my future child. I truly love Lily. And I don't love you, Sarah. I truly can't accept losing you. My family had just started to feel like a family. I finally managed to improve my relationship with my dad, and I finally got along with my mom like a normal son. I truly don't want to lose all of this. I lowered my head and wiped away a tear. I said, get out, David Miller. Are you unable to understand human language? The next day, I took Lily back to the Smith family estate. In the evening, David Miller's parents came to visit with gifts to apologize. I had expected them to side with David Miller, after all, he was their son. But Robert Miller spoke to me. Sarah, David Miller was wrong in this matter. We will definitely give you a satisfactory outcome. In a while, I will resign to take responsibility. You don't have to worry about the matter getting blown out of proportion and being difficult to handle, and you don't need to consider my job. As long as you feel relieved, that's a good outcome. I looked up sharply, somewhat unable to believe what I had heard. Robert Miller continued, but Sarah, your dad also wants to ask you for one thing. Can Lily's celebration party be held as planned? The senior guests and senior friends that your dad and I invited are all prominent people in both the political and business circles. Canceling suddenly would be hard for us to explain, and the situation changing too much would invite gossip. I'm afraid that when Lily starts school, everyone will look at her with strange eyes. This circle is only so big. Eleanor Miller finally followed me back to the room. She held my hand. Sarah, Mom wants to say I'm sorry. Don't worry, we won't be biased towards our son. Doing something wrong is doing something wrong. Some things can be forgiven, some things cannot. David Miller, that scoundrel, does not deserve your forgiveness. Sarah, I am a perfectionist. I don't like things with flaws. As for David Miller, his dad and I are not planning to acknowledge him anymore. He's not even worth one of my granddaughter's fingers. We will make the decision to transfer what we have in our hands and what's been passed down from our ancestors, including what David Miller has left, to Lily's name. But we beg you, can we see our granddaughter in the future? The Lily celebration party was held as usual the next day. At the beginning, the housekeeper suddenly came up and said that Chloe had also arrived with a gift. Eleanor Miller was in my room watching the baby. Hearing this, she instantly froze. I was also stunned. I only found out yesterday that Chloe was David Miller's first love. I knew her. Our families didn't live far from each other, and we had met when we were kids, but I never knew she was so important in David Miller's eyes. It was truly terrible. Chloe and David Miller had a relationship, and she also had a relationship with Jessica's husband, Ethan. This was 6 or 7 years ago. At that time, Chloe was originally dating David Miller, but Ethan intervened. In the end, Chloe and David Miller broke up, and she got together with Ethan. David Miller and Ethan even had a big fight because of this. They were always hostile whenever they met. I originally didn't know these details. I only found out yesterday by asking someone from the same circle. If I hadn't had someone investigate David Miller's romantic history yesterday and seen Chloe's information in the pile of documents the private investigator gave me, I probably would have forgotten about this person long ago. And yesterday, I also got Sophie's information and photo. I was surprised to find that Sophie and Chloe actually looked quite similar. I wondered if Jessica knew about this. Just as I was about to text her to ask, David Miller came in. Sarah, it's time. We should take the baby downstairs. Seeing him made me feel sick, but I still went downstairs with him. When we reached the hall, before I could find Jessica, a table of senior guests and senior friends called me over, saying they wanted to see the baby and share in the joy. I had no choice but to greet the senior guests and senior friends and show everyone the baby. David Miller casually looked around. When he saw Chloe, he clearly froze. David Miller quickly walked over to Chloe. Chloe stood up, smiling. David, long time no see. Congratulations on your daughter. David Miller sneered. Congratulate me, you're not worthy. His voice was quite loud. I could hear it from where I was standing. I couldn't hear the rest. I just found it ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. It had been so many years, and he still couldn't forget her, even going over specifically to mock her. What was he thinking? Who couldn't guess if he had truly moved on from Chloe in his heart? Why bother going over to say something sarcastic when everything was almost over? I went upstairs with the baby, and David Miller followed. Just as David Miller was about to kneel again, I spoke first. Did you ever have feelings for Sophie? David Miller looked up at me blankly. So, I looked at him. So you admit it, duh. David Miller's face changed. Sarah, I stopped liking Chloe a long time ago. I can't stand her. Why are you asking that? I almost laughed out loud. David Miller, do you believe what you're saying? I raised my voice. If you had forgotten, you would treat Chloe like a stranger, not like today, where you were completely distracted after seeing her, and even went over to her and said, "You're not worthy." If you had truly forgotten a long time ago, why did you go over and say that, making everyone uncomfortable? My heart felt like it had been stabbed countless times with a knife. And I'm very curious, David Miller, why did you marry me back then? Was it because I also had a face similar to Chloe's? Who exactly are you insulting? I couldn't control my tears anymore. David Miller, today you think about this, tomorrow you think about that. If you're like this, why did you agree to the marriage between families in the first place? You're trampling my dignity. No, Sarah. David Miller was incoherent. I never thought of you as a substitute for Chloe. It's just that. I admit I didn't like you at first. It was because this was arranged by my family, and I could tell you liked me a bit. That's why I agreed to this marriage between families. But Sarah, we've been married for 5 years. I fell in love with you a long time ago. Can't you see that you have to allow me to have a past? I'm not a saint. I can't help but make mistakes. You can't just dismiss me like this. I truly feel guilty for betraying you, which is why I gave all the shares in my name to Lily. Until she's 18, you have the right to make decisions for her regarding the money. Sarah, this is the best way I could think of to make amends. I sincerely want to compensate you. Do you think I need your money? I felt it was even more ridiculous. David Miller fell silent. I continued, David Miller, your mom and dad watched me grow up. They've been very good to me. That's why I haven't made this matter known to everyone. It's not because I plan to forgive you. Understood? You say you want to be a good husband, a good father. Do you think you deserve it, David Miller? From the moment you betrayed me, betrayed our marriage, can things ever go back? David Miller's face was filled with despair. After Lily's celebration party was completely over, Jessica came up. She first handed me the gift she had prepared for me, then played me an audio recording. When you abandoned me and went abroad, didn't I say that if you have the guts, die abroad and never come back? Otherwise I don't know what I'll do. Ethan, you're still mad at me, aren't you? I told you I was forced to back then. You still won't forgive me, will you? Ethan, I don't believe you don't have feelings for me anymore. Last week, I came back home and sent you a lot of messages. I said let's meet. You said you've been married for 5 years and told me not to disturb you. Then I said I wanted to see you. If you still have a little bit of old feelings for me, then go to David Miller's baby's Lily's celebration party. I'll be there, and we can meet. Chloe, what exactly are you trying to say? There's no possibility between us. Ethan, I don't believe you don't want to reconcile with me. Now our family has made a comeback. Your mom definitely won't despise me or stop us anymore. You just need to agree to divorce your wife, and I'll endure the criticism, endure all the public pressure, and marry you. Ethan, do you remember that child back then? Your mom gave me a check and told me to stop bothering you. In a fit of anger, I had an abortion. You were so looking forward to that child. I'm sorry, I didn't originally want to. After listening to the recording, I was filled with rage. It turned out that Chloe was not only David Miller's first love but also Ethan's first L. Ove. No wonder those two got along so well before. It turns out that birds of a feather flock together. They even liked the same person. Jessica took a breath. Ethan and Chloe went out together. I followed them to take a look and unexpectedly overheard them reminiscing by the large lake in the garden. How pathetic. I held her hand, feeling heartbroken. Jessica, what are you going to do? Divorce? Jessica said decisively. Thinking about it now, it's really too ridiculous. Ethan originally planned to go abroad for business and wasn't going to come to the Lily celebration party, but later he suddenly changed his mind and decided to come. I didn't know why he changed his mind about his trip abroad at the time. Now I understand everything. It's not just physical betrayal that counts as cheating, emotional cheating is too. Jessica's tears fell on the back of my hand. Well, I guess I just wasted my sincerity on a dog all these years. I only found out today that he never loved me. Jessica lowered her head. How could I be reconciled after divorcing David Miller? I completely left the Miller family with my child. One day, I was walking down a small road with no streetlights when someone suddenly darted out. Hand over all your money. By the dim moonlight, I saw he was holding a baseball bat. Before I could react, someone rushed in front of me and started fighting the person. I looked closely, and it was David Miller. I had been married to him for 5 years, recognizing him wasn't difficult. In the end, David Miller was completely defeated, lying on the ground, being beaten unilaterally by the other person. Sarah, hurry and go. Don't worry about me, David Miller shouted desperately. I stood there, finding everything absurd. David Miller, is this fun? I asked. The two people fighting froze simultaneously. David Miller got up, standing there stiffly, and said awkwardly, how did you fig? You're it out. I couldn't help but sneer. Who robs someone these days with a baseball bat instead of a knife? How could you do this? David Miller, are you taking me for a fool? I've lived so many years and never been robbed. Why is it that after I divorced you, this happens? David Miller's acting was too exaggerated. None of this was difficult to guess. He was truly like a joke. The person left with the baseball bat. David Miller followed me, not letting go. When we reached a place with streetlights, he knelt before me. Sarah, can I really not win you back? David Miller tried to grab my hand. After you left, I really regretted it. I've never asked anyone for anything my whole life. Now I'm kneeling here begging you, Sarah. Just forgive me this once, okay Sarah, just this one time. Will you give me this one chance to change? I promise I will never do anything to let you down again in the future. I stepped back 2 steps, moving further away from him. What do you mean, once or twice? David Miller, you don't get a second chance with me. Making one mistake is enough for me to give up on you. You weren't even willing to let that person carry a knife. What, were you afraid of being stabbed yourself? If you want to play the hero rescuing the damsel in distress, why not make it look a little more real? I said sarcastically. If I stab myself with a knife, will you forgive me? David Miller looked insane. Sarah, if that makes you feel better, stab me with a knife, okay, as long as you can forgive me, you can do anything. I'm truly in so much pain. I'm in so much pain I feel like I'm dying. I simply cannot accept losing you. Whether it's Chloe or Sophie, they have no place in my heart anymore. I only want you. They don't even deserve to be compared to you, Sarah. Is it only if I die that you'll forgive me if Lily and I had been harmed because of those texts? You could die 10,000 times and it wouldn't be enough. I turned and left, no longer wanting to argue with him. Sarah, David Miller shouted loudly. Don't treat me like this. When I was a child, every time I made a mistake, my mom would give me the cold shoulder. Are you going to do that too? Can we just talk properly, Sarah? I sped up my pace and didn't look back. When Lily turned 1 year old, I officially took over Smith Corporation. I bought an apartment near the office. Sometimes I was too busy and just stayed at the apartment overnight. David Miller couldn't find me at the entrance of the Smith family estate, so he started waiting outside the office every day. This went on for several days. I decided the next time it happened, I would call the police. Then, one afternoon with a beautiful sunset, I suddenly received a call from Eleanor Miller. David Miller was in a car accident. He's in a vegetative state. I didn't think anything of it. Just focus on my work, live my life well. David Miller and I were divorced a long time ago. What happened to him was no longer my concern. The end.